I've never been one for goodbyes, but as we begin 2023, it's time for us to turn the page on what has been a remarkable run. Not our call, but I'm not here to dwell on it either. Instead, I'm focusing on how we got here and what's ahead. In some shape or form, I have spent over 20 years here at BronxNet. I started as an intern in college making an hourly wage to rising through the ranks. That meant going from an assistant producer to a producer and on-air talent to sports director and your longtime sports anchor and correspondent in the field. I was on the very first episode of Open. Seems like a lifetime ago now. And my first sports segment in that role featured now FS1's Chris Bouchard, then of the New York Times, talking about the New York Knicks. I was pretty nervous for that one, even though Chris was a dear friend of mine and still is to this day. But I made it through, and Bobby C's Sports Roundup was born. We were off and running from there. The segment was a work in progress, as all good things should always be, featuring news, interviews, and commentary, my C-list. It was a labor of love. I've always worn many hats in this business, but this one was and is the one that mattered the most to me. See, I'm from here, born and raised in the Bronx, and mighty proud of it. I still live here to this day. It's been an honor to be the voice of sports locally in my hometown. We were presented an opportunity. That's what life's all about, opportunity. Your voice, your views, your vision. And we ran with it. Oh, did we run with it. With all due respect to places of business, I've always said it doesn't matter where you work. It matters the people that are there, working with you. We succeeded because of the players involved, namely myself and cameramen/editors, Jorge Gomez and Chris Pusateri. We dubbed ourselves the BronxNet Boys. And that's what we were when we started. Boys. We built the sports department here from the ground up, taking our content even further with my own sports show, Sports NYC. You watched us grow. In turn, we told you the stories of sports not only in this city, but around the world. We took that BronxNet mic flag everywhere, near and far, to the point that a colleague in the press box called me Mr. National. A good nickname, but I really like the BronxNet Boys moniker better. Because to me it was always about Jay, Chris, and myself. The pandemic was the beginning of new ventures for us, some good, some not so good, and that included Jorge moving on. If you're watching this, Jay, just know that you've been missed, and that Chris and I wish you the best, my friend. As for CP, you are the best friend a guy could ever have. We've rolled with every punch and made the best of every challenge since day one. So many of those challenges lately have come in-house now, unfortunately. I'm not surprised you've grown into an Emmy Award-winning creator at SNY. You had incredible talent since the first day that you arrived, coming to us by way of SUNY Binghamton as an intern, rising through the ranks yourself. It's been a pleasure co-producing these segments with you, and what a lifetime in sports it has been. A kid from the Bronx that covered every fall classic game of a Yankees team that won the World Series in 2009. I always dreamed of donning the pinstripes. I had Alex Rodriguez nearly blast my eye out with a cork in the locker room celebration following Game 6, something my mom witnessed on live TV. That'll be a story that I tell my kids someday. The same with Derek Jeter and his mythic status. Too many unbelievable moments. For CP and I, 3,000 with an exclamation point is pretty tough to beat, though. How did Jeets do it time and time again? It seemed like an endless run of champagne celebrations for us, the good old days. We took our lenses to all-star games in the NBA, MLB, and the NFL. Playoff games, championships, finals, Stanley Cups, Winter Classics, Indy 500s, Belmont Stakes, UFC fights, US Open, you name it. You got it. All for you, the viewer. Documenting the Yankees winning that last World Series left us speechless. So did watching the New York Football Giants secure their last Super Bowl win in Indianapolis against New England and the almighty Tom Brady and the Patriots. How is that a decade plus ago? My goodness. We struck Heisman poses and even got to get close to other legends in other parts of the world of entertainment. Legends like Jay-Z and Green Day, the band, all thanks to the world of sports, though. Green Day at MetLife for the Jets and Jay-Z at Radio City as part of a basketball showcase. So cool. Or how about the time that we had actor Will Ferrell on the show? That actually happened. Or when baseball all-star Joey Votto leaned over in the dugout of a midsummer classic and slowly read the station's name to us off the mic flag with a smile. BronxNet. Same with Giants great Justin Tuck repeatedly calling me out in front of other media members for my lavish suits. My two favorites from him, is that a velvet jacket? Oh boy. And Bob, only real men wear white, making a huge deal of my white blazer. That one really didn't play too well on TV. Nah. Needless to say, we feel like Hall of Famers now that this chapter is coming to a close. It was something else to interview Hall of Fame greats in Cooperstown, Canton, and Springfield, players that we grew up idolizing. The AFC Championship between the Jets and Steelers in Pittsburgh stands out. That was a cold one, as does salsa dancing Victor Cruz on Christmas Eve in a hometown affair. Closer to home, we always had you covered with the latest from the Bronx too. Community stories, Hope Week, charitable events, hosted by the Knicks and many, many others. We also chronicled Bronx stars on the rise, then young fellas like Kimball Walker, who went from hoops in the sun to the NBA. Hits was always a treat too, but it was extra special to see those local hoop stars make it on the national stage. Kimba winning the Big East and the national championship at UConn, to getting drafted by the NBA to becoming an all-star in the league. We covered the Big East, the ACC, the NCAAs, and bowl games like the Pinstripe Bowl. There was the NFL Draft, the NBA Draft, the MLB Draft at Studio 42. Amazing. We told similar stories about Bronx up-and-comers from Dwight Hardy to Saquon Barkley. I lived it up with the holiday specials and my favorite, Halloween shows, from Ricky Bobby to Evel Knievel and everyone in between. We covered the Mets, Yankees, Giants, Jets, Nets, Knicks, and the hockey locals, including the Rangers, the way much larger stations do. The only difference? It was just us, the BronxNet boys. And when the world got turned upside down, we pivoted and welcomed the greatest names in sports to the show. No sports, no problem. Sports Corner interviews it is. Greats like Rod Carew, Mario Andretti, Sir Jackie Stewart, Dave Parker, Tiki Barber, Jeff Pearlman, Buzz Bissinger, and so on, and so on, and so on. You watched me ride in an Indy car with Mario at nearly 200 miles per hour and hang off a Moto America motorcycle at almost the same speed, all in the name of capturing the experience and proving that dreams really do come true, especially if you're willing to work for them and are passionate about your craft. This journey is a success story. I still pinch myself, as does Chris, when we think about being on a float down the Canyon of Heroes in Manhattan with the G-Men, celebrating like we won the Super Bowl. And check this out, Jorge and myself ran the bases with Nick Swisher in the late night hours after the Yankees won the Fall Classic back in 2009. It didn't matter that we worked for this small local TV station. It mattered about the people. Swisher has that same thirst for life as we do. We did things on shoestring budgets or on no budget at all. We drove to Pittsburgh and back in the same day for that AFC Championship game. Facts. Those were common occurrences for us back then. You never saw the effort, you only saw the finished product. We flew back from Miami the next morning after LeBron James won his first NBA title, staying in the press room all night before heading to the airport on no sleep to catch the first flight out to go directly to the studio to go live with what we captured. I wasn't even 100% sure that we would make it in time. Ambitious doesn't even begin to describe it. And these 10 minutes aren't enough to truly showcase all of it. Like life, it came and it went. Memories here in a scrapbook that will surely not be forgotten. Time stops for no one. We grew up before your eyes, boys to men. Made new friends, said goodbye to some. We celebrated, we mourned at times, and we loved every second. You'll have to catch some Mets games to witness the artistry of Chris Fusateri now, making magic behind the scenes as always. As for me, I remain a man on the move. You can catch New York's longest running sports call-in show on WFUV 90.7 FM, one-on-one. I'm the sports director there. I'm also the associate commissioner for the Skyline Conference, the voice of Iona University basketball, and the Formula One correspondent for America Domani. Cheers to a career in the fast lane. I wouldn't have it any other way. And thank you to each and every one of you for being part of our journey and this remarkable ride. For the BronxNet boys, I'm Bobby C. We'll see you around.